Saki mbwembwe na kwele mchele kwa kuku kumwaga. Zako na wapenda yatusema nitasikia.
Hi, I'm Linda Wells, and I'm the founding editor-in-chief of Allure magazine and the founder of a brand called Flesh, and I've done a few other things which I'll tell you about. But first, I want to congratulate the United Scholars for what you've achieved and where you're going. I'm really excited about your future and all the things that you're going to do to contribute to our world. So, congratulations. I want to talk to you a little bit about finding your passion, which I know is an easy thing to say and sometimes a difficult thing to do. I was only led by passion actually through my whole career. And I started in school studying English and art because that's what I really cared about. And then suddenly I graduated and it was time to get a job, and it was a little bit shocking because I couldn't figure out what I could do that incorporated the things I loved most, which was creating, writing, images. So I also thought that work was supposed to be a struggle. Work was supposed to feel hard. It was supposed to feel like work. It wasn't supposed to feel fun. And so I looked around and didn't find anything that was properly serious. So I ended up getting a job at Vogue magazine. That was my first job, and I had landed in heaven. I was so happy. I loved it. I was in way over my head, and I didn't know a lot, but I learned a lot of it on the job. But what the biggest thing that I learned was that I could love every single thing about it, and it was my pleasure. The work was didn't feel like work. It felt like fun. And as a result, I worked really late at night. I worked weekends. I worked hard. I wanted to do more than anybody else. And that really made me have my career move faster, and I moved up faster. And I think I got the attention of some of the leaders at Vogue because I was so eager and such a hard worker. And what I learned was I could really find fun in work, and it didn't have to be this separate thing where it was like work was drudgery and my fun was my fun. So I wanted to incorporate the same thing, and as a result, all the time I spent at work was time well spent on pleasure. I went from there to the New York Times, and I was a reporter on the paper, and then went to the Times Magazine to be a beauty editor and the food editor. And again, it was just enormous amount of fun, but I also didn't know, I was in way over my head again. Didn't know a lot, had to learn how to be a reporter on the job, which I think is another thing that's really important to know, that nobody expects you to know how to do a job before you get there. And no one often teaches you how to do the job when you get there either. So what you have to do, what I learned was I had to watch everybody, learn everything, listen to everything, Google all the time, teach myself, read books on my free time, and do really more to try to really educate myself, because no one's going to take the time to really train you and really educate you. That's your job. So I did that. I did a lot of classes at night. I went to cooking school so that I would be a better food editor, and I did that after work at night and on the weekends. I took French, which sounds kind of crazy because French is not the most work-oriented language, but for the fields that I was in, beauty, fashion, and food, that's the language. So I wanted to improve my language. My French is still terrible, but at least I can understand it, and I know the and get in and out pretty easily. And then after I was at the New York Times, I was offered a job to start a new magazine, and that was Allure. And of course I said yes, because it was an opportunity that I couldn't turn down. It was just too wonderful, the idea of starting something from nothing. But again, I had to learn. I had to learn how to be a boss, and I'd never been a boss before. I had never had anybody work for me. I never was responsible for anybody but my own work. And so it meant that I had to really learn how to be a leader. I had a lot of false steps along the way. But I think that if you pay attention, if you're kind, if you're respectful of other people, then that goes a long way in getting you to the place where you can really be a leader with confidence. And I realized that people wanted me to lead. People wanted me to make decisions. And that's really important too, what people expect from you. So also in over my head. Also had to learn from everything that I did. I had to learn from all of my mistakes. I had to learn from people I hired, and I always made a point of hiring people who were smarter than me because I knew they would improve what we did and also improve my abilities. And I ran Allure for 25 years, and it wasn't ever easy. It was, but it was always fun, always fun. And then when I left Allure after 25 years, I went to Revlon, where I was the chief creative officer. And again, in over my head like you wouldn't believe. I didn't know anything that people were saying in meetings. I mean, very little of what people were saying. They were speaking a language that didn't make sense to me because it was all acronyms and industry language. And even though I'd covered the beauty industry as the editor of a beauty magazine, it was a foreign to be in a company that manufactured products. So I had to learn manufacturing and supply chain and all sorts of things that were foreign to me. And I was constantly Googling under my desk to figure out what these acronyms meant. But while I was there, I got the chance to start a new beauty line, and that's called Flesh. And I was able to do that in many ways because I'd started Allure. And the things that I really loved were starting things from scratch. I love creating things out of thin air, and make them come alive and give them a personality and a voice and a reason for being. But throughout my career, I think what my main mission was to take the things that I really found fun and interesting, and to me that was beauty and fashion and food, and find meaning in all of them, and make these frivolous subjects serious and give them depth. And in terms of beauty, which was really the biggest part of my career, it was about realizing that beauty isn't just vanity, it isn't stupid, it isn't frivolous, it's actually something that's really very true to the human condition, that we all present ourselves to the world, and we all assess people based on the way they look, not in terms of judgment, but just we understand things about people, about their looks, and we want to connect with people by their expression on their face, and by the way their eyes look, and by the way that they connect with you in a very deeper way. And so finding meaning in the frivolous and in the superficial could sort of be a subtext for my career. And so while the Unite Scholars, while you're thinking about what you want to do with your life, my advice is don't abandon the thing that you love the most. Don't feel like work has to be drudgery or painful or difficult. It should be hard, it should be challenging, but it doesn't have to be miserable. I absolutely have loved every single thing I've done. Even on the bad days, I've loved the bigger picture. And also realize that there's a whole field of creativity out there, and everybody needs to find a way to express creativity. And creativity can be in any kind of business, but it really is what kind of gives us energy and excitement and makes us feel alive, is to sort of create something and communicate and connect with people and consumers and ideas. And that to me is what's so enriching. So I hope that you'll find ways to find your own comfort and happiness in the work that you end up doing and finding your career, and realize that you can actually bring together the seriousness and the frivolous and the task of work as well as the joy of work. And there's just no better luxury than enjoying what you do. So I know that you're going to go on and do extraordinary things, and I can't wait to cheer you on and watch from the sidelines. And I hope that you'll find a way to bring your passion and bring your energy to everything that you do, and really feel fulfilled in the place that you spend the most time, which is at work. So congratulations, scholars. I wish you the best.
Nanipaga moyo nikianza kulia chozi nafutia.